Hello, this is Wesley. So welcome to this series for Introduction to HTML. So in this series, we are going to see about everything about HTML and how we can use it to create websites. So first of all, let us see what is HTML. So HTML simply stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So HTML is a markup language that is used to create and design web pages. Simply, we use HTML to do the structure of a website or a web page. So HTML is made up of a series of elements which we call tags, which we will see as we continue in this series. Now, for us to be able to do or work with HTML, we need something we call text editors. So a text editor is simply a program or software that will allow you to write your code, debug it, and format it in any way that you want. So we have various types of text editor. So the preference depends on the user. So we have Visual Studio Code from Microsoft. We have Sublime Text, Atom, Vim, Brackets, Notepad++, just to mention a few. Now, in this series of ours, we are going to use Visual Studio Code to work on it. So you can download any or you can install any text editor that you are comfortable working with. At the end of the day, we'll all be able to do the same thing. So without wasting time, let us see how to get the text editor, install it, and start working with it. Okay, as I mentioned, we are going to use Visual Studio. So let us see how we can download that. So just head to your browser and search for Visual Studio Code and just hit enter. This should allow you to get it and download it. So this is the first one here. So code.visualstudio.com. So just come to the download section here, or click on the download section here. So VS Code, you can use it on your Windows, you can run it on Mac, and you can as well use it on your Linux based system. So it can be used in all those three. So here you are. So depending on the operating system that you are using, you can just hit the download button on your operating system, then follow instructions to install for the various operating systems that you're using. So in my case, I'm on Windows. So what I'll do is I'll just click the download button here and install it. Now, I'm not going to install it because I already have it in my machine. So I'll just open it and we'll see. So after a successful install, this is what you'll get. This is what you'll get after successful install. So this is the Visual Code editor. So you can change the theme if you want. Now, before we start using this Visual Code editor, there is an extension that I want us to install. So to install an extension, on your left side here, move to the last icon here, which is for extensions. Click on it and come to the search here and search for live server extension. Okay, so here it is. So click on it and install. So in my case here, it is installed. So for you need to install. So this extension will help us when we are writing our code. It will automatically load the page when we save our code. So we don't have to keep on loading the page to see the changes. So whenever you save automatically, it reloads the page and you'll be able to see the outcome or the results of whatever you've written on the code. Okay, so now with this we can be able to start doing our coding. Okay, now that we have our VS Code installed and we've installed our extension, let us see the structure or the boilerplate for HTML. So first of all, I've created a folder in my desktop. In your case, you can create the folder anywhere. So the folder will be used to store our files. So let us open that folder. So come to file here and say open folder. Now navigate to my desktop. The folder is here. .html. So I'll select the folder. And as you can see, the folder is open here. Now we don't need this, so close that. Now inside this folder here, HTML, the one you can see open, I'll create my file now. So I right click and say new file. Alternatively, you can click on this icon here. So new file, then it will ask you for the name. So in this case, I'll call this file index.html. So we have to specify the extension so that our browser will know that we are working with a HTML file. So hit enter, and there is our file created inside our folder, and automatically it is opened in the editing mode so that you start editing. Now on a HTML file, the first thing that you'll get at the top is a declaration, which is the doc type. This one, doc type HTML. Now this doc type HTML is not case sensitive. It doesn't matter how you write it. Then the next thing you'll get there is now the starting point of our HTML. The start of our HTML. Now you'll notice that in VS Code, when you create the first tag, it will automatically close the tag for you. So hit enter. So you have the opening tag here, HTML, and you have the closing tag down here. Now inside the HTML, the next thing we'll get is the head. So with VS, you can just type the name head, and it will give you the abbreviation. It will automatically generate for you using the emet extension. So hit enter. Again, it will open and it will create the closing tag at the end. So just do enter again there. So after the head, the next thing we always get is the title. So just do title, and there it is. So the title, let me just say here, page title, as whatever goes inside the elements. So after the title, now we go outside the head. So the head is ending here, so we go outside the head. Then we will have our body. Now the body is what will hold every content that goes inside the website. So for example here, let me just type something small here and say this is my first code of HTML. There we go. So remember the doc type. This simply defines that the document we are working with is a HTML5 document. Then the start here, HTML, this is the starting point for our HTML document. The head here, the head will hold the top part of the page, like the page title. This is where you will link things like your CSS, your scripts, and so on. Then the body, this is where you put everything that you need to appear on your page. Then you close the body and you close the HTML at the end. So let's see how this looks on like in our browser. Now remember the extension that we installed, the live server, so it will help you here. You just do right click there and you say open with a live server, and you can see, so it is open here. So this is whatever goes inside the body. Now this is the entire body section of your page, and here you can see the page title, which is this, which is here. So it is the one that appears on the tab of your page here. So if we change this, and say home page, and hit save. Now remember the live server automatically loads for you. You can see now that one has changed to the home page. So simply this is the simple layout or the simple structure of a HTML document. Remember we have the doc type as the starting point, where we declare that this is a HTML5 document. The HTML, which is where our HTML code starts, or we start our code from here and we have to end it at the end here. We have the head, which holds things like the page title inside, and we have the body, which will hold all the content that we need to appear on our page. Okay, now let us talk about headings in HTML. Now headings are used to display titles and subtitles on your page. Now in HTML, headings are classified from H1 all the way to H6. So you start from H1 all the way to H6. Now what I'll do is I'll write them here and we see. Now H1 is the most used title when you are creating your web pages or website. Now HTML is what search engines will use to index your website. Now when you are designing your web page, you simply need to start from H1, which is the most important, as you go down to the least important. So you start from H1 as you head down. So let me simply do them here so that we see what we mean. Okay, so I'll say this is a heading 1, heading 2, I'll do a H3, heading 3, do a H4. So simply type H4 and press enter and it will do everything for you there. This is a heading 4. Let's do a H5. So type to H5 and hit enter. Okay, heading 5, and the last one is a H6, and let's call this heading 6. There we are. So remember, you start from the highest going to the lowest in order of priority. So H1 is the most, falls and as the most on the highest level, since this one is what most search engines will use to index your web pages and websites. So again, let me save that. So again, my page is reloaded using my live server. So you can see how our headings work. So heading 1, this is the H1. We come to H2, H3, H4, 5, and H6. So when you want to create headings in your web page using HTML, this is how you do them. So you simply use H1 all the way to H6, H1 being the most important and H6 being the least important. Now, since we know how to use headings, let us see how to work with paragraphs. Now, in HTML, to create paragraphs, you use the P element. Now, let me remove all these and name this to paragraph as our heading here. Then now let us create the P element. So you simply do the less than P, then greater than to do the paragraph there, and there it is. So we can say that inside there we say is our first paragraph. HTML. Now this is how you do a simple paragraph in HTML. Now let me save that. So Control S and see on our browser. So our browser is not responding, so let's open that again with the live server and see. So there it is. So we have our heading here, H1, and we have our paragraph here. Our paragraph is so small that we are not seeing anything. So let us replace this with some dummy data. Let us use RORM. So this is just some dummy data that is used to generate data for our websites. So save that and check our browser. Okay, so there we are. Yeah, so you can see it's just one single line. Let us try and do another paragraph. Do another paragraph. So paragraph, then RORM again, and this time let us do something like I do like something like 500. And then 500. So that will be a bit bigger compared to the other paragraph. So we are making it. So save that and come back to our browser. So you can see what we have now. So this was our first paragraph here, this one. Then we did a second paragraph which starts from here and ends there. So when you're creating paragraphs in HTML, just remember that you use the P, you use the P element to be able to show the paragraph. So let me wrap this so that we see how it looks like. So here is the opening P and here is the closing P for the first paragraph. Then the P element here for the second paragraph, which is closed down here for the second paragraph. So as simple as that, that's how you can work with paragraphs and create paragraphs in your HTML document. Okay, now we've seen how to create a paragraph, and I've seen that we've created a paragraph here. Let's say, what if you want to do a break between the paragraphs? You want to do a break that will differentiate between this first paragraph and the second paragraph. So to do a break, we use the HTML horizontal rule, or something we call the HR element. So if I want to break my first paragraph and my second paragraph, I'll come at the end of the last paragraph or the closing P, and just at the end of there, I introduce a new element which is called HR. So HR will create a line that will separate the first paragraph and the second paragraph. Now note that the horizontal rule element doesn't have a closing tag. It only has an opening tag. So let's save that. When you save that and we come to our browser, we can see that we have a clear line that is separating the first paragraph, which is this, from this entire second paragraph here. So that's how we use a horizontal rule, the HR, to define or to break our paragraphs. Now, something else. Let's say you want to break this paragraph instead of having it as this. Let's say you want to break it from somewhere here so that this line jumps onto the next line. So in HTML, there is something we call a BR, or line break. So it breaks your line and takes your text to another line. So for example, let me find somewhere in our paragraph here, say somewhere like here. Then inside here, just introduce that BR, or break line. So just like the horizontal rule, the BR doesn't have a closing tag. It is just an opening tag. It is just an independent tag. So if I save that now, what should happen is at the end of this word, this line should break, and we have this other line starting on a new line. Let's see that. So you can see that there is a break now. This sentence was continuing here, but now there is a break that it has broken from here. Now it has gone to another new line. To make a difference or to differentiate that, let us do this. Let's look for another line. Let's look for another line ending somewhere, let's say here, and do something here. And so we do our BN. Then after we say line break here, so that we'll be able to differentiate that. So Control S, then it reloads for you, and let's find that. So it is here, line break here, which means it was continuing here, but now we did a line break and we got it coming to the next line here. So if you want to break your lines and separate your lines to the next, this is how we do. We use the BR element. So remember, the BR, or line break, is used to break your line and take it to the next line, while the HR, or the horizontal rule, is used to divide your paragraphs using a clear line separating them from the others. Now we've seen how to use the horizontal rule to separate our paragraphs. Now let us look at some text formatting tags that you can use on your paragraph. So I'll just mention a few of them, and I want to start with bold. So let's say you want this first line here of this paragraph to be bold. So what do? So in HTML, we have a B tag that is used to do that. So you just introduce the B tag, then you close the B tag at the end of that sentence also. So that way, so you introduce the B tag at the beginning of the sentence or word that you want to be bold, then at the end you have to close that B tag. So that is for bold. So if I save that and we check our browser, we can see that now this line has turned into bold. So apart from bold, we have other text formatting tags. For example, strong. There's one that's called strong. Now, strong is used to mark or display text that is important. So, for example, let's say this last line here, we want it to display that as an important text. So what we'll do is at the beginning of that line, also throw in the tag strong, close it, and also you close the tag at the end that way. So you open the tag strong at the beginning of the word or sentence that you want, then you close it at the end. So if I save that and we come back to our browser, we'll notice that this text now is different from the other. So it kind of looks the same as bold. Okay, so apart from strong, we have italics in case you want to display your text in italic form. So let's pick a word here. Let's say you want to display this first word here in italic form. So for italic, we have the tag I. So you simply do an I for italic. So remember, when you open it, also you have to close it at the end. Perfect, that way. So you open the I and you close it at the end. So save that and we see in our browser, and you can notice that now this first word here is in italic. Okay, so just to mention a few, those are some of the text formatting that you can apply to your paragraph. But we have others like sub for subscript and sub for superscript. So for example, let's say I want this I here to be a superscript. That means to be on top of each other. So I'll just introduce my tag sub here and also close it at the end this way. So close my sub there. So remember, this I should be displayed above other text. So save that and we check. So if we can find it where it is, and here it is, you can see now that the I here is on top of the other. So that's how you work with some of these tags to format your paragraphs in HTML. Okay, let us talk about comments in HTML. Now, comments are good because they will help you remember what you did in each section. And also, they're nice if you're going to share your work with a team so that the team will know what was done on each section. Now, in HTML, we write comments by using, okay, let me just type it here. We do a less than sign, we add the exclamation mark, then we do 2 lines, then again 2 lines, and at the end you close with a greater than. Then comment here. So this is what happens. You start with a greater than, exclamation mark, 2 dashes, then you write your comment, then you close with 2 dashes and the greater than sign. Now notice that comments are not displayed in a browser. So in case I save this work and I come to my browser, you can see it is not shown anywhere. So comments are just used to show and remind you what you are doing. For example, I can say here that this is a heading. section for my heading. Then here I can do another comment and say that this is a end of paragraph 1, so that we know. Then down here you can do another comment, and this is a end of paragraph 2. So in case anyone is going through your code, they'll be able to know that there is a heading that starts here, ends here, there is a paragraph which ends here, and there is another paragraph which ends here. So at the end of the day, if you save these and you come to your browser, you will notice that those comments are not displayed on your browser. They are simply there to guide you and remind you of whatever you are doing in each section, at the same time help any other developer who will check your work. Let us talk about links in HTML. Now, a link allows you to navigate from one page to another or access content on a server. Now, links, we find them in most websites or all websites. Now, to do a link in HTML, we use the A tag. So we'll simply do A tag. Then the A tag takes some other attribute in this case, which is the href. Now, the A is for the link, then the href here is used to point or supply it with the URL of where you want your link to point to. So here it takes the URL, then at the end here you simply do a close, then the text or whatever will be displayed as that link. So it takes the tag A followed by attribute href, which is applied with the URL of the page you want to open, then the text that will be displayed or what the user will click, then at the end you have to close the A tag. So for example here, let us say we want our link to point to something like let's get a link here. Let's say we want to go to google.com. So we'll copy the entire of that link. Then we come here and we paste it, http as google.com. Then the text here, we can say Google. So if I save that and I come to our page here, you will see that we have a link now at the top here saying Google. Now if I click on this, it's supposed to open Google. Yep, you can see there it is. It has opened Google. At the same time, it has closed our page. So there's something I want to introduce here. So if we come to our text editor here, we can introduce another attribute called target. And in this target, we want it to open a blank. Page. So remember, a href, then href is where you supply our link to. Then the target, we want it to target a blank or open in a blank page. Then the text, then close our A tag. So save that and let's see what happens. You can see now our page is here, but on a new tab, we get Google opened on the new tab. So I've introduced two attributes there. The first attribute is the href, which you supply with the link of the site you want to visit. Then the target here, which you supply with a blank value telling the browser that you want this link to open on a blank or a new tab. Then the text, then at the end you supply with or you close the A tag. Now, apart from using the A tag as to open links, you can also use the A tag to send mails. So for example, let us do another A tag here. So A. Now in this case, our href here will supply it, will say mail to, then full colon, then supply the email you want to mail to. So let me supply an email there. That way. Then the text that goes in between the opening and the closing here, I'll say send mail. So save that. If you come to our browser, you can see you have a button for send mail. Now this one, if we click on it, if you have an email set up on your laptop or your computer, it will open the mail client for you and allow you send an email. So let us see that. So click on that, and you can see it is launching our mail client here. Now we can select any email that you want to use. Select, and you will notice that the email we supplied is here. Now our work here is just to supply the subject and the body of the email, and click on send. So that's how we work with links. That's how you work with links in HTML. So just remember, you have to use the a tag, then supply it with an attribute href, which takes the link of the website you want to visit. Then you have to close the a tag at the end. Now let us talk about images in HTML. Now images in HTML just allow you to embed a picture on your website. Now in HTML, we embed a picture using the img tag. So let me just write it here so that we see. So at the end here, after, I'll just create a space here. So here the tag is img. Now notice that the img tag takes some attribute, which is the SRS, which stands for the source, and it takes another attribute which is called alt there. Then at the end we close that tag. Now note that the image or the img tag is an independent tag. It doesn't need a closing tag, so it is just one tag. So the syntax is you have the img tag, then it takes the attribute source and it takes the attribute alt. Now the attribute source, this points to where your image is. Then the alt text, this displays a text that will be shown on your browser in case the image doesn't load. Now let us get an image very fast and we see. So I'm on unsplash.com here. So just scroll down. Okay, let's take this image here. So on Unsplash, you get some free images that you can use. So let's download the medium version here, and a big thanks to Mads here for the picture. So picture is downloading here. Okay, it's almost. Okay, there is our picture done. So let us open its folder, and there it is. Now what we do is just get this picture and drag it to your working space on the left here, and release it there, and there is your image. So for easy usage, just we rename this one, rename it, and let me just call it food, I mean like that. So my image is there, renamed as food. Now back to our HTML here, we said our attribute img, our attribute source points to where our image is. Now this is our image here. So inside the double quotes here, it will be food dot jpg. Now not the extension, not the extension of the picture, because it has to be exactly that. Then the alt text here, alt text is important because it helps the browser or people who are blind to be able to understand what the image represents. So in this, as I can say, food on a table, that way. And with that, let me save that image. Let me save that. So Control S. If we come back to our browser now and we check, so there is our image, but our image is too big. Now let's style that first of all. So at the header here, I told you this is where you place some of your CSS styling. So I'll come to the header here and I create the tag style. So it has an opening and a closing. Now inside this tag style, this is where we write our style, and I want to target this image or this tag img. So here I'll do img that way, then open the curly bracket and close them, then enter. So inside the curly brackets here, we will do things like the width. Let's say this width we want it to be 500 pixels. Then let us do a height also, a height, and say this height we want also it to be 500 pixels. So with that, if we save that now and we come back to our browser, you can see our image is there. But now you can see that the image looks distorted. If you compare this one to the original image here, see how this one looks and see how this one looks. So to solve this, we come back to our styling here and we add something called object fit, and we set it to cover. We want it to cover. So save that, come back to our image now. Our image looks at least better. So this is how we insert an image on our HTML document. Now notice the work of the alt text here. So let me mess this image up and just remove the extension, something like that, and save that. If we come back to our browser, you will notice that the image is not displaying because the extension is not right, but the alt text is here telling you that the image that is supposed to be here is an image of some food on a table. So that is the importance of the alt text when you are designing your site. So it helps a lot, don't forget it. So that's how we work with images. So simply a recap, remember the tag is img. It takes the attribute source, which points to where your image is, and the alt or the alternate tag here, which explains more about your image. Now let us talk about tables in HTML. Now tables allow you to organize your data in terms of rows and columns. Now in HTML, for you to be able to do a table, we use the table we use the table tag. Now the table tag takes first of all something we call a tr tag, which stands for table row. It takes a th tag, which stands for table header, and at the same time it takes a td, which stands for table data or the table cell. Now remember, we have the tag table, which creates a HTML table. The tr stands for table row. If you want to create your rows, we use the tr tag. We have the th tag, which is the table header. It creates the headings for your table. And we have the td, which is table data, which adds data into your headings, to your cells. Now let us put this into action and see. So we have our tag table here, and we have our tag table starting there. So inside, the first thing we'll need to do is a tr, so to create a row. Now inside this row, let us do a table header, and in this table header, let us do first of all something like a name. Then we do another table header, and in this table header we say gender. Then let us do another table header. In this table header we say age. So simple as that. Now if we save this and we try to check our browser, this is what we'll get down here. So name, gender, and age. It doesn't look like a table yet, but let us continue and see what we get. So now that we have the table, we've created the table headers. Let us do the table data, or let us add some data inside in there. So below the tr, the closing tr here, we do another table row. Now in this table row, let us do the table data for the first person here. Now table data here, name, let's say this guy is called James. That is for the name. Then we do another table data. This time is for the gender, male. Then again, we do another table data, and this time is for the age, let's say 20, that way. So we've created another row. So at the end of this row here, again, do an enter, and we do another row, table row. Then again, we repeat the same thing. So table data, let's call this person, name is Aria. Then let's do another table data. The gender is female. Let's do another table data here, and the age is let's say 3 years. So that is the second person. Let's do one last person here. Let's do a table row here. Inside the table row, let's do a table data for the first name. Let's call this lady Shelmith. Then we do another table data. The gender is female, and let's do another table data here for age, and let's call this 23, something like that. So if we save that now and we come to our browser, you can see that we have created something like a table here, organized in rows and columns. Now you'll notice that our table doesn't look like a table also, so we need to give it border. So let's come to our style here. Sorry, let us come to our editor here, and we add some borders to our table. So we'll simply come to the style that we had for the image here. Now at the end of the curly bracket, just hit enter, and we do another style now. And this style, this time we are doing for the table, comma, we are doing it for the table header, comma, at the same time we are doing it for the table data, because those are what we have. And open our curly bracket, and inside our curly bracket here, what we will say is a border. We want our border to be 1 pixel in thickness or size. We want it to be solid, that means to be straight, clear lines, and give it a color. Let me say red, something like that. So if we save that and we come to our browser, there we are. So you can see our nice table here now. So that's how you do a table, or create a table in HTML. Now notice that this table now, the cells look like we have an outer border, then each cell has its own border. So we can solve this and make it to have just one clear line or border separating them using something we call a collapsed border. So we need to collapse the border. So we just need to come back to our HTML here on our style here, and we just add something, an attribute here or a style called border hyphen collapse, border hyphen collapse, and we say collapsible, or collapse that way. So this one will collapse the lines and make them to be one line. See what happens? So you get it to be as one clear line. So there we are. So that is how we do a table. We do a table, and our table looks okay, but we can give our table some cell padding in between all over, so that our table looks like it has spacing in it. So let's come to our HTML here, and at the end of this style here, just close it, and now we do a style for the table header, comma, and the table data. Now let us do some padding. Some padding will add space in between the, you come back to our HTML, space between the lines here and the text inside will be increased. So here, simply say we want padding, a padding of let's say 15 pixels all through. Now that will increase the space between them. and you can see what you get now. Your table looks nice and neat. Now those styles are some CSS styles which are not part of this course, but maybe in another course I'll be able to do more of CSS styling of with HTML, so that you see how to work with CSS and HTML. But for our case here, we are simply concentrating on HTML only. Now notice that our TH here, or table headers, the table header by default will always be at the center. You can see that they are set at the center. Now what if you want to shift them to start from the left, or you want them to be at the right? Now let us just do one more CSS style here to solve this problem. So you simply come at the end of this TH and TD style at the end here, and introduce another style now, but this time it is only for the table header, because that's what you are targeting. And what you do here now is you simply say that you want the text alignment to be to the left, because that's where you want it to start from. So if you save that and you come back to your document, you can see that now your work, or your headings have been aligned to the left. Okay, so that's how we work with tables. So that's how we work with tables in HTML. Just remember that you have the starting, which is the table tag. Then as you do a table tag, you need the TR, which will create, or the table row, which will create table rows for you. If you need headings on your table, then you need a table header, or TH. Then to add data to your cells, you need the TD, or table data, for you to be able to put data into your cells. One last thing before I forget, there is something we call a table caption. So the caption is simply used to identify your table. So you can add a caption to your table so that it shows somewhere at the top here and explains what the table is all about. So to add a table caption, you simply come to your table here. Before you form your table row, just after opening the table tag here, simply do the caption tag. So it has an opening and it has a closing. So inside between the opening and the closing, call these I call it people data, something like that, and save that. If you come back to your HTML, you can see that your caption is now here. So that's how you can assign a caption to your tables. Now let us talk about HTML list. If you want to create a list in your HTML. Now in HTML we have two commonly used type of list, that is an ordered list and ordered list. But there is a third one called description list, which I'll talk about at the end. Now let us start with an ordered list. Now an ordered list is used to list your items using the bullets form, or in form of bullets. Now for you to do that, let's just come here and demonstrate it so that you see. So for us to do an ordered list, it takes the UL tag, which stands for unordered. Then inside the UL, it takes the LI tag, which stands for the list items. This is where you put your list items. So remember, you start with the UL tag, which is the unordered list. Then inside the unordered list, you have the LI, which stands for the list items. So for example here, so let me repeat that so that we see. So you start with the tag UL for another list. Inside the UL, you do the LI, which is for the list items. So let's say something like water as item number 1. Item number 2, soda. Item number 3, let's say juice. And let's say one last item here and call this milk. So this is how we create it simply. You start with an ordered list, which is the UL. Inside your UL, have the list items, which is the LI. Then terminate the LI. Inside the opening and the terminating, you put inside your items there. So if I save that and we come to our browser, down here, you can see our items are listed in bullets form. So that is an ordered list. Now, the second type of list is what we call the ordered list. The ordered list lists your items in number of in a number form. So it will list them number 1, number 2, 3, and so on. So in number form. So let's see how to do that. So the only difference with an order list and order list is that in an order list, instead of using the UL, you use the OL, which stands for an order list. Then inside, you do the LI for your list items. So here, let's say things like um, uh, pizza, and then other, mm, and one last list item here. Let's do something like that. So if we save that now and we come to our browser, you notice the difference. The unordered list, it is using bullets. The ordered list is using numbers to display your items that you wanted to list. Now there is one third list that we use or that is in HTML, but people don't use it most of the time. So this is called a description list. So a description list simply is used to give an item. After giving an item, it gives more details about that item. So this is how it works. So the description list takes it takes the DL the DL tag, takes the DL tag. Then inside the DL tag, you have the DT, which defines the item. Then inside the DT, you have the DD, which describes the item. So I repeat that the description list is defined by the DL tag. Then inside the DL tag, you have the DT, which defines the item that you want to list. Then inside the DT, you have the DD, which explains more about that item. So let's do this practically and see. So let us start by doing a DL. Then inside this DL, we do DT, which is the item that we want. Let us say this one is sorry, let's say T that way. Then inside this T here, let us do a DD, which will explain this more, and say mix milk, water, and tea leaves that way. So that is one item. Then let us do another one here. Let us do another DT, and this one let us call it coffee. Then below it, let us do the description. VD, let's say white or black coffee, something like that. So let us save that and see. Save, and we come to our browser. So there we are. So we have the item tea here. Then we are told that tea is simply milk, mix milk, water, and tea leaves, and you'll get that. Then we have coffee here, which you asked whether you want it white or black. So that is how we do a description list. So simply remember, you have your DL, which is creating the entire list here. Then you have your DT, which is the list item that you want, which is like T here. Then you have the DD, which is for describing the list item there. So commonly you will not find this description list used most of the time in HTML, but in case a case pops up where you need it, now you know how to use it. Let us talk about iframes. Now, have you ever wondered how to embed a document within your web page, or how to embed another website within your within your page? Now, with iframes, everything that I've mentioned is possible. So let's see how we can use iframe to embed another website within your own website. Now I'll just come here before the table here, just at the end of paragraph 1 here, and do the iframe. So the iframe, we use the tag iframe here. It takes the attribute source, which points to where or the link or the document you want to embed. Then it takes the frame border, which is set to 0 by default. So then it has the closing tag here. Now let us embed something here. So I'll do a link here to our website. We're embedding that website there. Then the frame border, let us leave it to 0. So let us save that and see. So we come to our page here, which is loading. There we are. You can see that there is something loading here, but not clear. So let us solve this by styling this iframe. So we come to our style here. Again, we call our iframe here, and let us give it just a width and a height. So let's give it a width of 1000 pixels maybe, and a height of I say 600 pixels. If they don't work, we'll just come back and change. So save that, and we come back to our page. Let it load. Perfect. There we are. So as you can see now, using iframe, we are able to embed this website here within our page, and you can simply navigate on this website here just on your page without moving from your page to another page. So this is how iframe makes work easy for us. You can embed a document, you can embed a website, a whole website, and so on. Now if we go back here, there is something that was set by default, which is this frame border here, which is 0. Now observe the edge of this website here. As you can see, nothing there. Now let me turn that iframe. Instead of 0, let me turn it to true, which is 1, and save that and come back to our website. So let it load, and there we are. So you can see that now there is a border all around our embedded document. So that is the work of that frame, the frame border, which was set to 0. So iframe makes it interesting. You can simply let someone be on your on your web page and simply browse an entire website from your web page. Let us talk about forms in HTML. Now forms allows you to collect data from users and send it back to a given email or send it to your server for processing and so on. Now for HTML, for us to do forms, we use the form attribute. Now the form attribute takes the form tag takes an attribute called action, which we use to send our data back for processing. Now this one we can use PHP for backend and maybe JavaScript and so on. So the form tag has an opening and a closing tag. Now inside the form there are some more attributes that we will take. Now let us do one by one. So the first attribute we'll talk about is the label attribute. Now the label is used to give the name or the description of a form input field. So for example, this label, let it call this label for, this one will be for name. Then in between the closing and the opening tag here, let us say this is for name. Perfect. Then now since we have a label, we need an input field for that. So let us use the BR element for breaking so that we go to a new line. Then on this new line now, let us introduce the input field where we want to enter that name. So in this case, we use the input tag in HTML. And the type now here, it has three it has three attributes. The type, first of all, is text because you are picking text. Then the name here, it has to be exactly what you're collecting. So in this case, you are picking name. And you will need to write this because you will use it when you are doing your backend processing if you want to send your data to a given server and so on. So the ID for now we can remove it. We don't need it. Now with these two only, if we save this work and we come to our site here, you can see what we have now. We have the name here and we have where we are entering the name here. Now let me introduce one more attribute here. So let me introduce an attribute called placeholder. Now the placeholder will enter something inside there that will be replaced when you type something in the input field. So let me say like enter your name. Perfect. So that way, and if I save that now, we come back, you can see that we have a placeholder. This one, immediately you start typing, it disappears, you can see. So it's just a placeholder that will tell the user what is expected to be entered there. Now since we have the first element here, which was for name, let us repeat the same thing again here and now create for something else. So say again we do a label. This time now is for, let's say we want to pick the user's email, then email there. Then now for email, the input type here now, in HTML5 we have a type for email, so we just call it a email that way. Then again we add our three elements there. So our attributes, name, email, and maybe we do a placeholder which is not necessary, enter email. So let us see, if we save that and we come to our browser, this is what we get. So we have the name and we have the email this way. So again, we can just break this by using the br tag just to send it to the next line. Again, a br tag here, and do a br tag here even if we don't have an item. We saved, see what we get now. So we have the name, we enter the name there. We have a place for email, we enter our email there. So let us continue and say we introduce something like we want the user to select their gender, whether they're female or male. So let us introduce something else here now for that. And here we will do, first of all, let us do the label here. The label here for gender. Then here we do gender that way. Now here we are going to introduce a new input that is called a radio. So let's do input, and this time it's a radio. So a radio is like an option box. It allows you to select one item at a time. So this input takes some attributes here. Sorry, the first attribute is the name, and this one we are collecting the gender. Then the other attribute that it will take is the value. The value, in this case, the value that we want to be selected. In this case, we say the value we want is we want to select the male gender. So again, let us just break here. Let us save this and see what we get first of all. So this is what we have here, gender. Then we have this here saying what you're supposed, but now there's something missing. We've not specified what is supposed to be there. So before here, let us do a label here, and this label is for male, and here we say male. So then save that and let us see what we have. There we have. So the gender we are selecting there now is a male. So let us repeat this for the female. So we do a BR there, then we do label for female. The data to be displayed is female. Then the input here, we've said it is a radio. Then the name we are giving is gender because we are working on gender. We need it to be the same because when we are processing using a backend scripting language, we need it to be exactly the same so that we know what the user has selected. And the value here that will be selected is female, that way. Now let's save that and let's see what we have there. So we have gender, so you can pick male or you can pick that way, male or female. So you have to pick one, you can't pick both of them. Now let's see, let me try and remove this break here and just let them be on the same line, that way. So you're either male or female, male or female. Perfect. Now let's say you want to select some options again. If you have given an option, whether you, okay, let me do it practically here so that you see. So let me do a label here for, call it items. Let's say items here. Or let me say select items you own, that way. Then we come down here and we do an input type, but this time instead of, we want it to be a checkbox so that we can select items that we want. Now the checkbox, same as the option, the radio, it takes some elements here. The first one is the common one, name. Let us call these items. Then apart from the name, it takes the value. So the value is the item that you want to select. Let's say here the value, let's say car or something like that. Okay, perfect. So let me do a break here, then do one label here, label for car, and here say car. So save that and we see how it looks like. So there we are. So you can see that there is an option for a car there. So select items you own needs to be on another line. So do a break there. That, and there we are. So car, and so let us add some more elements here. So again, we come here and we do a label for, let's say this time house. So house. Then we repeat again the input here. The type is a checkbox. We have the name. The name is items. It has to be the same. Then the value here, in this case, is a house. Perfect. So let's do one more label for this time. Let's say this guy owns a boat. Let's say a plane. So plane. So plane. Then again we do the input, which is a checkbox, and the name here is items, and the value here is a plane. So we are picking value for plane. Save that and let's see what we have. So there we are. So you can select the items you own. You can own a house and you can own a plane, but you don't. Okay, you can own a car, you can own a plane, but you don't own a house, or you can own all of them. So that is the work of a checkbox. It allows you to select one, two, or more items. But for an option box, you only have to select one. Perfect. Now let's say you want to add something like a message here. You want someone to type a message after filling this. So how do we do that? So let's just come down here and add an area for collecting message. So first of all, we do label for, say, message. So here, message. Now do a BR. Now for message in HTML, we use something we call a text area. So text area takes these items. The first attributes, the first one is name, which you can call a message because you're picking message. The ID, let us leave it for now. The columns, it is taking 30 columns, and 10 rows. You can change that as you want, and we can add another attribute here, which is our placeholder here, to say type your message here. Perfect. So let's save that and see. So there we are. So this is how a message box looks like. So you can enter your message here. So the columns, these are the 30 columns that we're talking about, and the 10 rows, it is divided into that way. Now you have your form here and you need to send your form. So how do you send your form? So in HTML, we have an input type that we call submit. So in this case, you just come down here and say input. The type is submit. The type is submit that way. And the attribute that it takes here is something we call value, which is submit. So let's save that and see. And there we are. So you have your submit button here ready to send your message. So just press this so that you have it on another line. There you are. So you have your form where you can enter your name here. You can enter your email. You can select your status, things that you own, a house, do your message there. And when you're done, you just click on submit. In this case, it will do nothing because we've not done the backend scripting to collect our data here. But you can see that the data is collected up here and it is awaiting to be sent. If we had done the backend scripting, we would be able to send this data to a given email or to a storage location. Perfect. So that is how you do forms in HTML. So just remember that you have to start with the form, the opening form and the closing form. Then everything inside here is just labels and input types. So the input type that you have is the text for collecting normal text. We have the email for collecting email. We have the option box, which is the radio. We have the checkbox. And we have the text area for your message. We have the input type, which is submit for sending. And we have many more that we've not covered in this tutorial here. Now let us talk about media on your website. And in media here, I want to talk about audio and video, but I want to start with video now. Now you can attach video to your web page using various ways. In HTML, you have the video tag that allows you to do that. So let's work on it and see. So first of all, I have a video here that I've put here. So let's rename this video first of all. Just give it a simple name. Let me call it slap that way. So we use that. So okay, let's start. So here said you have the video tag. There we are. And the video takes two elements here. It has the source. It has the source here, which is where your video is pointing to. So let's do that. In this case here, our source here is this video here, slap.mp4 that way. Now you need to notice this how it is here, the extension to your video. So let's save this and we see on our website if we are able to get that. So you can see there's something loading here, but it is not working. So what we need to do here is we need to introduce other attributes like controls. So this will allow us to play our video. So save that and we come back. Now you can see we have the controls now. I can click on the video. Now watch what you get. You can see the video is playing. I can be able to mute and I can also be able to kill or reduce the volume that way. So that is the work of those attributes that we introduced here, controls. Now I want to introduce one more or two more attributes. The first one is what we call autoplay. So with this attribute, when the page loads, it will start playing automatically. So save that and we save. Now watch Machuca in the red vest. Immediately the page loads, watch. When the page loads, it should start to play automatically. Okay, let me save that from here so that we see. Save under page loading.
Now watch Machuca in the red vest. They don't like each other, these two, and you'll see.
So we add one more attribute here. So apart from autoplay, we can add another attribute called muted. So when the video starts playing, it will automatically mute. So save that and we go back. There's our video. So it has autoplayed and it is muted. So we cannot hear the sound. So those are some of the attributes or what you can use to do on your, how you can insert your video in your website. Now you can insert several medias on your website of the same media but different extensions in case your browser does not support them, but most browsers support MP4, so you'll be safer if you use an MP4 file type format. So we can also do some things here. We can do some things like increasing the height and the width here. So let's do something like width, and let's go with something like 1,000, and maybe a height of 600. Well, I don't know how it will look like, but let us see that. So save that. We come back. Okay, you can see now that the video has increased in size. Perfect. So that's how you insert a video stored on your browser. Stored in your local host, and you attach it to your website. Okay. Now we've seen how to insert a video. Now let us work with an audio and see. So on my left here, I have an audio that I've just copied here. So to do an audio, you use the audio tag. Again, it takes a source. Now the source here, the source points to where you've stored your music here. So in case mine here is let me rename this for easy use. Okay, perfect, something like that. Then now I'll come here and add it as my source now, and it is an mp3 file, so you have to do the extension. So then again we need to add an attribute, because if we save this and we come to our browser, we will notice that you cannot see it there because we've not given it control. So we need to come here and add an attribute. Need to add an attribute of controls. So if we save that now and we come back to our browser, we can see that our audio is here now, and we can be able to play it. So you can be able to reduce the volume and so on. Okay, so that is the work of the controls. Again, you can also do an autoplay on this autoplay. So save that. When your page loads, your song starts to play automatically. Okay, so far I think we've covered almost everything in HTML, and with this I'm sure you'll be comfortable. You can sit down and design a simple web page and even a simple website using the knowledge that you've done. Now you will need CSS, a bit of CSS to do styling of how you want your page to look like. But so far, whatever we've covered, you can be able to comfortably work with HTML. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope it helps you.